Alright, good morning. Jamal Fuller, Spice Rack Catering Company, Spice Rack Trading Company. Today we're going to do something a little simple. We're actually doing a slow cooked corned beef brisket. This is the point. You typically will see this in a store. It'll have like a white or a black label on one side. You turn it over, it'll be clear, and you just see the meat sitting like this. And a lot of times there'll be a little pack like this, kind of sitting there like that. These are good packs. They have a good amount of seasoning in it. I don't use them because I create my own rub, which is what I have there. One of these other days we'll talk about what goes in that, and that's actually a brisket rub. So I'm going to use that. Now for this here, what I'm going to do is we're going to actually put Dijon mustard on here because it adds a good amount of flavor. So I'm just going to take that guy like that. That. Now, one of the things you're gonna notice, first of all, is that I have gloves on. Some people, if you're like me, I keep gloves on just because that's just the way I am. It ends up being safer from a sanitary standpoint, but there's gonna be times where you're not gonna be able to wear gloves because you have to be hands-on with it, which I'm not averse to that either, and I actually like it too. In this particular case, what you'll notice is that even though I have gloves on, two gloves on, I'm only using this hand because this is the hand I'm using to touch the meat. When I'm transferring and touching things, I'm using the other hand. So this guy here, I'm gonna take and I'm gonna put this mustard in there and take this seasoning. Put that around, and by the way, it is about 4:30 right now. The reason I do that is because this is going to be a slow cook, so it's going to be cooking for about 8 hours, so it ends up being about 2.5 hours a pound. This guy, I believe, is about a 4.5 pound piece, and the oven is going to be at 250 right now. If you need to speed things up a little bit, you can put your oven at like 275, and you know there's even some recipes where you actually cook this whole thing at like 350. So again, it's really up to you what you want to do. So I got the rub mixed in, and I'll put a little bit more. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a fat piece up. I'm going to get a small pan. I'm going to take this guy up, and then I'm going to cover that with some foil. And then once I do that, all we're gonna do is stick this puppy in the oven. And this is an industrial piece of foil. Typically, there's nothing wrong with a Reynolds. All you gotta do is just do 2 pieces of foil if you have to. So in this particular case, this guy here, I'm just gonna go all the way around. And then I'm gonna take this, stick it in the oven 250, and we'll be back in about 8 hours. All right, so we've got to the phase where the meat is done, but I want to go over a couple things. First thing I want to say is that with the mustard, it helps, but it depends on who you're talking to. But for me, it adds it. It's a conversation that continues to happen. Something else to think about is that when I covered it with the foil, you have to kind of keep an eye on it, because what happens is if you wrap it too close to the meat, what will happen is it starts to cook. If it's close to touching the meat, basically it will eat into the foil, and then it'll be a hole, and then your steaming will just basically go over that. But so I saw that, and I saw that happening, so I put a second foil pan, like a foil amount of foil on it, basically. So that said, this our crust on it. I've seen it darker, but I actually like it the way it is. So what we'll do, I say we like, I'm using a bread knife because of the serrated edge, it'll help cut it better than a straight edge. So what it ends up looking like is this. So this is the end result, and it turns out great. You can kind of do a little bit of everything. At some point, what we'll be doing is we'll do a corned beef and cabbage dish, because I can't eat all of this by myself, but I'm sure that we'll find some other people to eat it. But I'll keep some of it myself so that we can use it for the corned beef and cabbage dish. But outside of that, this is what you end up with, and it comes out pretty good. Other than that, thanks for hanging out. We'll go on to the next dish. You have a great weekend.